So, with the release of Deadpool and Wolverine, we have our first official X-Men movie within the MCU, except it's not really an MCU movie, it's kind of a continuation of the Foxverse that's just now kind of crossing over with the multiverse into the MCU. It's complicated, I know, it's crazy, but eventually we will likely get a new original X-Men cast from the MCU, a brand new team of characters that will carry the flag of the X-Men going on for the next decade. In this video, I want to break down who I want to see playing each of the main characters in the X-Men universe. Of course, I'm not going to cast every single character because there are hundreds of X-Men characters out there, but just the ones that come to mind. I want to tell you who I think should play them, or at least who I would cast if I was the person in charge. I'm gonna go through a couple villains, and yeah, let's just not waste your time and jump right into it. So the character of Professor X is the most important one in my opinion. Professor X is one of the best characters in comic books. This wise leader, this guy who is at his core a teacher, somebody who wants to help these mutants. We've gotten two incredibly iconic interpretations of this character in both Patrick Stewart, who plays this older, wiser version of this character, and of course, James McAvoy, who plays the younger version of that same exact character in the same universe. But James McAvoy delivers a very different performance about a guy who has not gone through the battles of morality and building up his mindset of I need to help mutants and I will put myself before everything for them. We instead watch him go through the journey of becoming that. He's incredible. I believe when we do eventually get a new Professor X, we will get one who is kind of more in line with the Patrick Stewart version, somebody who's already sort of fully developed into who he is. And there's a lot of people who could play him. The one big casting I keep hearing is Mark Strong, mainly because he just kind of looks like Professor X. I think they're just picking any actor in Hollywood who's bald and saying, they could be Professor X. It's kind of like when Bryan Cranston shaved his head for Breaking Bad, and immediately everybody was like,
look like Lex Luthor.
But there's only one person I want to see playing Professor X, and it seems unlikely he's going to be playing him since he just got cast in some random role that nobody cares about in the brand new Captain America movie. But of course, I'm talking about Giancarlo Esposito, a guy who has done nothing but play villains. If he was ever going to play a good guy, he should play the goodest guy of them all. You can imagine Giancarlo Esposito sitting in that chair with the bald head, being a kind, beautiful, mute man with a bell on the chair. Oh no, I can see the references already. Okay, yes, but Giancarlo Esposito is one of my favorite actors in Hollywood. He's clearly one of the busiest actors in Hollywood because he keeps showing up in every major franchise, and I hope to God he gets to play this character. Yes, I know he's playing somebody else, but hey, if Robert Downey Jr. can play Dr. Doom and Iron Man, of course Giancarlo Esposito can play random dude number 5 in Captain America and Professor X in a future X-Men. Then we have Wolverine, a character that I'm not sure we should recast. I think if they do X-Men, like an X-Men reboot, they should kind of leave Wolverine out of it, just because Hugh Jackman is Wolverine, and I think with him coming back in Deadpool and Wolverine, and obviously going to be coming back in other movies in the future, I think we should just keep him in the role, to be honest, because he's so good, and nobody's ever going to do it better, and I don't know. If I had to choose somebody, though, it's got to be somebody young and somebody who's going to deliver a very different interpretation of the character. So as much as I want to see the Calverine return and play this character fully again, I don't know if his interpretation of it would be so different from Hugh Jackman. We'll save Henry Cavill for other characters, not in the X-Men. I'm just going to go with the hype and say Taron Egerton. He's young, he's experienced, he's, I believe, an Academy Award nominated actor. He's short, I think, but just, I don't know. He's got a lot of range. I think he kind of looks like Wolvie a little bit. I would cast Taron Egerton as Wolverine if you had to. Cyclops! This is another one that's kind of obvious to me. Jacob Elordi should play Cyclops. This guy is amazing in everything he's in. One of the best actors in Hollywood that's kind of going underappreciated so far because he's in Euphoria, and I guess people hate that show. He's got very deep range as an actor, and I think he can pull off a superhero character in a much better way than we've seen other people perform superhero characters. I think he can deliver a lot more to the character of Cyclops than maybe we would expect, especially if they were to cast somebody more generic. He's young, he's tall, he's strong, he looks like a superhero, and he has the acting chops to pull it off. My only fear with Jacob Elordi is that he would turn this down, because of course he refused to even audition to play Superman. And if he doesn't want to play Superman, to want to play Cyclops, I don't know, that would be crazy, but I would love to see Elordi playing Cyclops. Jean Grey, another obvious one for me. Saoirse Ronan. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing her name wrong. I have no idea how to pronounce it. I've heard 15 different people say it 15 different ways, so don't yell at me in the comments. She's one of the best actresses in Hollywood. She's incredible in Little Woman, unbelievable in Lady Bird. She's got red hair, which is like the #1 qualifier to play Jean Grey. She is such an incredible actress, and she would bring so much to this character, and maybe, just maybe with her at the helm, we can get a great Dark Phoenix movie. A boy could dream. 3rd time's the charm. We believe in you, Kevin Feige. Then we have Rogue, a character that I thought was played brilliantly by Anna Paquin in the original X-Men movies. In this one, though, I would like to see Maya Hawke play Rogue. This one is just kind of, I'm throwing it out there. I want to see Maya Hawke in the MCU in a superhero movie, and I think she would make for a good Rogue, or really any of the characters in the X-Men. Just get her playing somebody. How about Storm? Who should play Storm? There's a lot of great candidates to play Storm. I've seen a lot of people recommend Keke Palmer, I think would be great. Lupita Nyong'o, I know she's already playing a character in Black Panther, but of course, she would be great. I have somebody else, a little bit of a wild card. What about Ayo Edebiri? Now, this is one that's kind of like an against-type character. She'd have to be playing the serious version of Storm, and she's not kind of a serious actor. She's more of a comedic actor, but Ayo Edebiri, to me, is one of the best actresses in Hollywood today. She is just starting to break out and become one of these mainstream top-end actresses. I think when she eventually joins the MCU or the superhero universe, she should play Storm. I know she was supposed to be in the Thunderbolts movie. That got delayed or pushed back, or she's not in it anymore. I don't know what's going on there, but I would cast her as Storm. That would be an interesting interpretation to see and be very, very different than, of course, Halle Berry's performance. Beast, right? A lot of people can play Beast. It's really going to be a CGI-based character unless they go back and do what they did in the prequel X-Men films, where it's showing his transformation into becoming the Beast. If it's just going to be a CGI version, though, I would cast Brendan Fraser. I mean, come on, it's Brendan Fraser. Who doesn't love him? Can you imagine him just being this cool Beast uncle with that voice of his? This one seems too good to be true. Like, it's not going to be Brendan Fraser. He would be my pick. Mystique. A lot of people can play Mystique. I really love Jennifer Lawrence's performance as this character. I would love to just see her come back and do it all again. Doubt it's going to happen, but if we have to have somebody else, Ana de Armas, I think, is a beautiful actress. She is incredibly talented. I think she can pull off this character and all the different vibes with her in a way that would be different from Jennifer Lawrence and still just really incredible. I'd like to see more of the villainous Mystique than the kind of hero interpretation we got in the X-Men movies recently. I'd like to see more of her, maybe even be the main villain of a movie, because it's such a cool character with such a unique set of powers, and yeah, that would be amazing. Powers may be a little bit too close to the Skrulls, so I don't know if they would even do Mystique at this point, but still, I would like to see it. And then we got a couple villains. I'm going to name off 3 villains and who I think should play them. First off, the big one, Magneto. A lot of different people can play Magneto. Even Giancarlo Esposito, who I listed as Professor X, would make a pretty good Magneto. I think Ralph Fiennes should play Magneto, the guy who plays the best villains in all of Hollywood. Of course, he is Voldemort. He is such an amazing actor. He might be my favorite actor in Hollywood. Anytime he shows up in any movie, I get a little giddy. He was so good in The Menu. He looks incredible in Conclave, which is coming out later this year. Can you imagine him playing an older, wiser, strong version of Magneto? It would be so dark, it's so badass, and he's the kind of actor that can give a performance that's very evil, but still leaves a little bit of room of empathy. And no, I'm not talking about his performance in Schindler's List, or Voldemort, but still, he's so incredible. This would be my preferred casting, but there are so many great people that can play this character. Apocalypse. We have to get a version of Apocalypse eventually in the MCU, one that's better than the Oscar Isaac version that we got in X-Men Apocalypse. Now, who could play this character yet again? A lot of different people can play this character, depending on the interpretation you want to go with and the comic adaptation you want to do. There are countless amounts of people that can play this character, and you could do something really original with them. I'm gonna put this out there. How about Dwayne The Rock Johnson? Dwayne The Rock Johnson is Apocalypse. He's big, he's brutal, he's brawly. Let's just not make him a hero and give him his own movie and cave into the pressures of Dwayne The Rock Johnson and his massive-sized ego. Let's tell Dwayne The Rock Johnson you're gonna be a villain. You might even be an Avengers villain. But no, you are not going to be the good guy, and you are not going to make Black Adam, but in Marvel. You're gonna be Apocalypse in an X-Men movie or an Avengers movie. I think that casting just works. It would get a big name attached to a big villain role, and I think people would be really down for it. And last but not least, Mr. Sinister, and I have been screaming this one for what feels like my entire life, all 23 years of it. I came out of the womb screaming this. John Hamm should be playing Mr. Sinister. And this seems like probably the first villain that they're gonna do. Mr. Sinister is the biggest X-Men villain that we have never seen adapted to the big screen, so it seems almost inevitable that this will probably be the villain of the first X-Men movie, or a future Avengers movie down the line. And yeah, John Hamm should play Mr. Sinister. I'm gonna say it again. John Hamm needs to play Mr. Sinister. I'm sure they're gonna cast somebody else. They're gonna cast Chris Evans to play Mr. Sinister, or something dumber than that. But my God, how are you not gonna cast John Hamm? He is literally Mr. Sinister. Look at the man. But yeah, that's the video. Let me know which characters I missed out on and who you want to see play a bunch of these different X-Men characters. Make sure to like this video, subscribe for more, turn on notifications. I post every day. I'll see you in the next one.